We are pleased to have back on set Mike Guimares, who's the owner, broker of RE/MAX Spectrum, for his segment, which we call Home Matters. Welcome back, Mike.
Thanks for having me.
Every time you're here, we talk about the state of the market. Now, it is June.
It is.
Almost July.
Almost.
Are the prices still increasing or are they stabilizing?
They are. Yeah, it's hard to believe. The prices are still going up. We've been talking about an inventory issue for quite some time now. And every month that goes by, we think it's going to stabilize, but we're still seeing issues. There's not enough homes on the market, and that continues to drive up prices. And so far this year, we're seeing about a 4% increase.
Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be letting up either.
No, which is crazy.
It is.
I mean, back in April, we talked about how there was a glut on the market of homes, and I mean, of buyers and not enough homes,
Yep.
and that's still the case.
It really is still the case. I mean, people are still on the sidelines, and you're seeing, as listings do pop up, people are jumping in, and there's bidding wars, and homes are selling for
And
over
they're
asking.
selling really fast.
They are.
Right.
They are.
Now, the rates went up. The
Fed rate went up.
So the Fed rate went up, so we all assumed that the mortgage rates would go up.
Yeah.
What has happened?
Biggest misconception out there. People always try to tie to the Fed rate to see what the mortgage rates are going to do, but that's not what they're tied to typically. And generally, the lending community is anticipating rate increases, and they're building that in. So even though the Fed rate did increase in May into June, we had the lowest rates all year. So it really is still a great time to buy with low interest rates and affordability at its highest.
So buy, remortgage, and maybe do an addition or home improvements.
Yeah, if you're not going to move and you want to add on,
Yep.
just because you love your location, you just need more space, an addition is definitely the thing to do, and your rates, they'll never be better.
Wow, that's just amazing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some myths that are related to buying a home. One of the most important things now is the credit score, and people think they have to have a perfect credit score to qualify for a mortgage to buy a home.
Yeah, it's not true. I mean, we have heard it predominantly from first-time home buyers because they kind of get it drilled in their head. You have to have great credit to get a mortgage, and that's the only way you can buy to get the best rates. But it's not like that anymore. With the market downturn in 2008, lenders were strict on their requirements, and things were difficult as far as getting mortgages.
Right.
It's changed drastically in the last couple of years with the economy stabilizing, things getting stronger. Lenders are now developing better programs that buyers with 600 to 700 credit scores will have no problem getting a mortgage. In fact, 50% of the mortgages written this year had buyers with credit scores between 600 and 700. So the myth that you need over 700 credit score to get a loan is not true anymore.
But is it still, for the first-time home buyer, the inventory that's out there in their affordability range is still very limited?
It is. The price points of homes that tend to go the quickest are in that 250 to 400 price point, which
they go right away, right?
Which is exactly where your first-time home buyers are.
Right.
So it is very competitive, and that's why first-time home buyers really need to get pre-approved early, so they're in a stronger buying position when that home does come on.
Right. And is there any kind of special thing they can sign up for where the minute something comes on the market, they get notified?
Yeah, there are a lot of online tools. Folks know all the large tools like Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com.
Yep.
The best thing to do when you know what area you're searching in is definitely to get out to a realtor. They'll generally hear of listings that are coming on before they hit, and they can be ready for when that listing goes live to get
Another
you in.
reason why, especially first-time home buyers, should really connect with a good,
Absolutely.
solid, legitimate realtor.
There's a lot of expertise there to help you with that process.
Right. The other thing that, and I know some young people that I know that are trying to buy a home, is the myth about I have to have 20% down to purchase this house. That's not true?
It's not. The 20% was always tied to private mortgage insurance. So people felt if they had a smaller down payment, they were going to pay mortgage insurance that was going to make their payment higher.
Higher, right.
Again, there are so many programs that lenders are putting together to eliminate the PMI. And still, you can buy a home with as little as 3.5% down. In fact, there are some USDA government programs, if you're in certain rural areas, where you can get a 100% loan.
Really?
Yeah. And the rates are still strong. So right now, we're hovering around 4%. You're not going to pay a large premium on that either because of the government programs that are in place.
Now, is it wise for a young person, let's say a couple wants to buy a house and they have $25,000 to put down, but they don't have to put the whole $25,000 down. Is it better for them to put the minimum down and be able to have that extra cash for anything they need to do with the house?
Really depends on their situation, and that's why they'll need a really strong lender to help guide them through that. The home they're buying may need some improvements, so they'll definitely recommend they keep some cash out. With rates as low as they are, it's the most affordable money you can ever borrow.
And you can always pay it off early.
You can.
Right? So just because you don't put it down at the beginning doesn't mean you can't accelerate your payments or pay the whole mortgage or more. Like I know I pay more on my principal every month.
Absolutely. Yeah, the smallest excess in your principal payment, $100 a month extra, knocks 6 years off your loan.
That's just incredible.
So you're almost, you really have to weigh out what's your payment going to be. I'd like
Right.
to keep it more affordable and then give myself some flexibility. If I want to pay more, I can.
Exactly. Okay, another myth. Since it's a seller's market right now and prices are rising, I should wait. I shouldn't buy.
Yeah, it's crazy. The mentality sometimes that people get out there is makes you wonder, what's being said.
Right.
The fear of there's another crash coming
Yes.
gets people thinking, well, I'm going to wait till it drops again, and then I'll go buy, like it was in 2009. I'll be able to get a really good deal. The problem is you just don't know where the rates are going to go. 1% increase in your interest rate is a 10% offset in the market value of the home. And so your affordability is really at question there. So the best investment is real estate by far long term. And if you are in a position that you're able to buy today, you should do that. You should get into the market. You should purchase an investment. And then you never know what 3, 5, 7 years is going to bring. You'll gain some equity and also have some tax benefit as well.
Now, can you just, in the last minute or so that we have, talk about the stress that's actually caused in this environment where if I put my house on the market, I'm going to get 25 people bidding on my house. Not only to the seller, but to the buyers.
Sure.
They know that they're not the only one that's going to bid on this house. How do you as a realtor help navigate, both for the seller and the buyer, that aspect?
The most important thing when you see prices escalating as quickly as they are, you have to always remember that the property has to appraise. So people can get caught up in bidding and going over, and unless they're a cash buyer and they don't care about what the true market value of the property is, maybe it's a specialty property they just want to have, you still have to balance with your clients. What's realistic? What is a bank going to lend on? You can't get caught up in 20 people sitting on the sidelines, everyone's bidding and try to get the highest dollar. If it doesn't appraise, it's not going to close anyways.
Right.
So you really have to help, whether we're on the buy or sell side, help our clients understand that risk.
So just explain that, just if it doesn't appraise, what does that exactly mean?
So if you have a home on the market for $300,000,
Okay.
There's a bidding war and someone
And
offers
I'm offering you
$320,000.
$320,000.
Yep. And then the bank comes in to appraise to get your loan, and they say, no, it's worth $300,000. Well, either as a buyer, you're going to come up with $20,000 more in cash to still purchase at that.
Because they won't give you the mortgage for the
Correct.
over what it's appraised for. Okay.
Yep.
So it all has to
Or
do
the
what it's
seller
appraised
is going to have to drop their price.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
the worst thing that can happen is you get to a point where you're far down the road in purchasing a home, and then the buyer and seller have to come back to the table to figure out where that deficiency is going to come from.
And you don't want that to happen.
Absolutely not.
So bottom line is have a realtor that knows what they're doing to work with you.
Definitely.
To navigate around all these issues.
Absolutely.
Thank you. We'll have you back, and this is fascinating, probably
being
at the
here.
end of the summer, so that we can find out what happened in July and
Perfect.
August.
Sounds great. Thanks for
Thank
having
you,
me.
Mike.